Like, what are the first things they should be focusing on, like to actually start a YouTube channel, to get it kind of kicked off the ground, to get things happening? Because even for me, like my biggest frustration was like, we talked about this earlier, like the ads are easy. I turn an ad and I get 1 million views, right? I post my first YouTube video, I get like 8 views, and it's just like, and like what's the beginning phases and stages that someone should be thinking about as they're kind of jumping into it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it sort of depends on what game you want to play, where we kind of go into two routes. Are we trying to play the famous game, or are we trying to play the I want to make money game? So I guess with your audience, it's probably the make money game. They probably want to drive leads towards some sort of offer rather than trying to get famous, as it were. Now, the way that you get famous is by trying to make very broadly applicable viral videos that appeal to large amounts of people, so that you get followers and stuff. Like kind of like the Mr. Beast approach. It's a very different approach to YouTube than what I do, for example. What I would generally recommend, and it sort of comes down to basic marketing stuff, which you talk about in your books as well, is figure out who's the target avatar, figure out what's the value proposition, figure out what are their pain points, and then figure out what's the free content I can make that targets those pain points, which then ideally directs people to my funnel.
Mm-hmm. It brings it back to your solution.
Yeah, it's just like, I think the YouTubers I know who have the most fun are the ones who are not trying to make money from YouTube. They're the ones who are using YouTube as lead generation for their own products, their own offers, their own funnels. I know YouTubers with millions of subscribers who make 100 grand from a sponsored video, but that video has to get 2 million views. Otherwise, the sponsor is going to reduce their rate, and then they won't be able to pay their team. And so there's all this pressure of like, every video has to get at least 1 million views. That is so hard to do. It's so hard to get everybody to get at least 1 million views. It becomes harder every year because every year there's more people on the platform. Things become more saturated and more competitive. I think it's so much nicer for people in our sort of space if you've got your offer and you're using YouTube to drive leads for that offer.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. You're not doing any paid strategies on your channel, right? I'm asking because like when I first launched our YouTube, we had our YouTube organic, and then we were buying ads on the same channel, and it jacked up all of our videos. And so someone told us like, don't run ads on the same channel you're running content on. So we had to pull it off and separate it because it was somehow messing up the algorithm where none of our organic stuff would work anymore.
Yeah, so we don't do it, but I know a couple of people who do, and they swear by it. So I know like 3 YouTubers who have like 2 million plus subscribers who all run ads to their own videos, and they say it's been really, really good. I'm still scared to do it because I don't want to up our like crown jewel, which is our YouTube channel. And I gave a talk at Google a few weeks ago, and I spoke to our YouTube channel manager who asked this question. And what she said is she said that right now, the organic algorithm and the paid algorithm are completely separate. So in theory, if you run ads to a YouTube channel, it shouldn't screw up organic, but I'm still so scared to do it because I don't want to get burned by like my channel suddenly dying and being like, oh my goodness, I
killed the goose that laid golden eggs.
That's the one. Actually, on that note, like we literally call the YouTube channel our goose. And so we have like a goose system, which is our sort of like our process for creating YouTube videos. And one of the big things that my team optimizes for is, we sort of think of me and the YouTube channel as sort of the goose. We collectively, me and the YouTube channel are the goose that lays the golden eggs. And we want to make sure the goose is happy. And so it's about getting that balance between making sure that I'm making videos that I feel proud of and that's stuff I want to make content about, not just the stuff that will work or will go viral. And I think there's always this interesting balance between the soul of the content and the statistics of the content. If every video is like clickbait title, like listicle, trying to drive growth and engagement, it starts to lose a little bit of personality. And I think personality and a lot of the feel-good factor of a YouTube channel comes from the under-optimized stuff. So yesterday, while walking around the local park in Boise, I decided to film a video using my little handheld DJI pocket camera, and it ended up being a half-an-hour video about my advice to someone who's dealing with perfectionism. Now that's a pretty under-optimized video, but we're going to put it out on the channel anyway because we know that it adds a dose of soul, and plus I felt good filming the video. So we're always kind of doing this balancing act between the enjoyment of the process and kind of doing the thing that we think will work. And sometimes a video that I would have had no idea would do well ends up doing really well, and people really connect to it. So I think, it's always this interesting balancing act between like the stats and the soul.
I've had that issue with ours because in the past we've had some channel managers for us who are doing stuff, and they're like, same thing. They're finding videos that are going viral and sending me, and the ones they always send me, or the ones they were sending me, were always like the scammy ones, like, I made $1 million in 25 seconds. I'm like, like make one like this, it'll go viral. I'm like, I don't want to make that video. That video sounds you know what I mean? And that was the hardest thing. And then I'd create stuff I wanted to, and it was tough because like they don't get as many views, but it's like, this is what I actually want to talk about. This is what's important to me. And so I've definitely struggled with that, like trying to know, like, how do you, like the ratio even, or finding
no,
this stuff.
It really is a balancing act. I think also in our sort of space, if there's optimizing for views, and then there's optimizing for the right sort of views. So Hormozy found this with their content recently, when, you know, they did very broad clickbaity stuff. They would get more views, but those weren't business owners. They wanted to attract business owners. And I stopped watching Hormozy's content a few months ago because it was just like, it's not for me.
It's showing all his weightlifting stuff.
Yeah, all of that random stuff. Whereas like
huge,
2 weeks ago, they switched to pure business stuff. And now I'm a Hormozy fan again, and I'm watching everything. I'm listening to it at double speed. I'm sending it to my team. And they've realized that by under-optimizing their view count, they're actually getting the right sort of views. And so I think if you're optimizing for just views, you end up doing how to make your first 10K a month as a teenager type content, which is going to get millions of views just because.
But you're all teenagers.
But if you're trying to target people who are like 7-figure business owners trying to go to 8 or 9, there's way less of them, but they're also the sorts of people that would go to your inner circle, for example. So it's that balancing act.
Now, after you post a video, do you do any kind of promotional things, or do you just post it and let the algorithm do the work, or what's that part of it look like for you?
Yeah, we pretty much just let the algorithm do the work. We have tried all sorts of things. We have never seen any transformation of like any sort of movement from viewers from any social platform to YouTube. All roads have just led to just focus on making a really good video and let the algorithm take care of it. Because the algorithm is really good. It is very good at finding the right person.
It's so frustrating. Like, we could, like, I want to send emails and text messages, and like, how do we blow? I'm so proud of the video. I want everyone to see it, but like, the times we've tried stuff, it hasn't worked. I was hoping there's some secret you got.
There was this YouTubers conference I went to in like Valencia like a couple of years ago, and I was sitting on the plane. I was sitting next to a guy who had like 20 million subscribers, who was a gaming YouTuber who was doing daily content for like 10 years and was like a decamillionaire from these gaming videos. And I was just sort of like mining him for advice. It's like, you know, how often do you sit next to a guy with 20 million subscribers? And he said that the way he thinks about the content is, I'm not making a video for my subscribers right now. I'm making a video for the person 3 years from now who has no idea who I am and who will see this on their homepage. And so that's his mindset when creating the content. And I thought that was really nice, because when I think about, oh, how do I make a video for my audience right now? I'm actually just kind of blink. I then sort of think, well, I can't repeat myself. I made a video about that like in 2019. And so maybe my audience will know that I made that video. And like on average, an average viewer on my channel watches like 3 videos. I've made 900 videos. And so by switching that mindset from views right now to, I'm optimizing for the 3-year long tail view count of this video in the hope that the right sorts of people find it and get value from it and maybe go into one of my funnels. That to me takes a lot of the pressure off the, how many views did it get in the last 7 days?
That's really interesting. I was going to ask you about like how you get content ideas and stuff, but that's a big thing. Because I'm very similar. Like, I've said this story 3 times. I never want to talk about it again, but you could bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all can repeat ourselves way more than we do, and especially like So I would ask you, who are the sorts of people you're trying to attract for your YouTube channel?
For me, it's people who are in business. Like, I don't want the beginners. There's too much. You know, I realized they bought someone else's course. They figured out they did the first thing. They got something to sell, and the next phase is like, well, I like it, where it's like kind of like you. Like, you come in, it's like, I've got something to make some money. Like, cool, we can light it on fire. Let's build a funnel, drive some traffic, and like, you know, like, so those are ideal people. They have a business, but not, you know, I'd say they're probably 6 figures and below. Like that window is like where I want to find people, because then we can take them and.
Okay.
It's easier to take someone from good to great than from nothing to good. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like someone has a good
So you want
business.
someone who's doing like at least 10K a month in revenue, or like 5K a month or something like
anywhere in that window is great. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to ideas, trying to optimize for views will take you towards a beginner camp, which is not where you want to be.
So all the biz op ones, scam ones, like, hey, make a video like this. Like, no, I don't want to.
So I've been sort of on and off tracking your YouTube channel recently, because it's like, oh, Russell Brunson's taking YouTube seriously. This is interesting to see what happens. And you've done a few videos that are like 7 ways to make your first 10K online type stuff. And I'm not going to click on that. I'm like, but I can't remember. It was I think it was about a year ago. There was some more philosophical stuff that I felt was really targeted at me as a business owner, and that like made me have so much goodwill towards you. I was like, oh man, this Russell guy's so cool. Of course, I read his book. I thought the book was sick, but now seeing you on video, helped me build that parasocial relationship with you, where now I feel a bit starstruck, like coming here and being like, oh shit, hang out with Russell Brunson. And that video almost certainly has fewer views than your beginnery aimed ones. So I think the thing I would encourage you for whatever it's worth is keep your target audience in mind and do stuff for them, and don't think so hard about the views.
Yeah, that gets me really excited.
And I think also the nice thing is the algorithm is so good. Like if you only made content aimed at people already doing 10K a month and trying to get them to 7 figures or 8 or 6 or 7 or 8 figures, whatever the thing might be, the algorithm will then find other people who are like them. But if you then do videos aimed at complete beginners, the algorithm is going to be kind of a bit confused, like, oh, okay. And now the channel is going to lose some of its traction. And it's sort of like in the short term, you have to be totally okay with just sticking to your lane in terms of your target audience and just making stuff that's really applicable to them. And what I've seen with a bunch of my YouTuber friends is like the video gets no views, no views. A year later suddenly starts to take off because now the algorithm has enough data to realize, oh, this is the sort of person who this sort of video is appealing to. And then the channel really starts to grow. But it's really playing the long game.